Katowice is a unique city, the capital of an agglomeration which is home to more than 2 million people. 3 airports in the vicinity, as well as highways, the road network and the railways, make it easy to travel to and from Katowice. It is one of the fastest growing Polish cities, the capital of the region, and has undergone rapid transformation over the past few years. The real transformation has taken place in the very center of the city, forming an area covering over 100 hectares, making this quite simply the greatest project of its type in Poland. Katowice today is a very dynamic city and the home of modern technologies, services, business and culture. But it wasn't always so. 20 years ago, Katowice was the heart of the coal and metallurgy industries. There were a dozen plants located here, including a coal mine in the heart of the city, today next to the legendary Spodek. 15 years ago, more than 2,000 miners worked there. Thanks to the bold vision of the president of the city of Katowice, Piotr Uszok, the industrial area has been transformed into a cultural zone. In one part of the former mine site, a new Silesian museum has been created, while nearby, next to Spodek, a gleaming new international convention center has arisen. The new headquarters of the National Polish Radio Symphony Orchestra can also be found in the center. The zone of culture is served by a brand new public transport system. The new headquarters of the National Polish Radio Symphony Orchestra, which for almost 70 years has been an ambassador of our city on stages all over the world, has become another symbol of the ongoing changes in Katowice. The National Polish Radio Symphony Orchestra was reformed in Katowice in 1945, since when one of the best, internationally renowned orchestras has been associated with our city. For some time, its headquarters were located in the former Capitol Cinema and later in the Krystyna Bochenek Katowice Cultural Center. The acoustics, however, did not come up to the standards befitting such a prestigious organization, and so the NOSPR Advisory Board and the mayor decided to build a new home for the orchestra. The concept of the new NOSPR headquarters, designed by Konyor Studio, has grown out of a design which was awarded first prize in an international architectural competition in 2008. The design of the building structure took aesthetic inspiration from the Nikiszowiec historical settlement in Katowice, giving it a real sense of local identity. The elevation features the characteristic red brick appearance, highly significant for the region. 2012 saw the beginning of construction of the building, the heart of which is an 1,800-seat concert hall, as well as a bandstand for a 120-piece orchestra and choir. The level of complexity of the building is evident even when considering the figures involved in the construction of the roof, whose structure consists of 11 steel girders, each of which weighs 22 tons and measures 33 meters in length. Beams are used to support a suspended ceiling, characterized by a special corrugated shape, reflecting sounds to create the perfect acoustic effect. The steel structure is covered with a layer of concrete slabs and sheet metal from the top down, weighing approximately 1,200 tons. The Great Concert Hall was built in an unusual shape, the audience seating in the shape of a vineyard, and individual balconies surrounding the orchestra on all sides. This intensifies the audience sense of participation. Another unique feature is the acoustic solutions of the walls, created in a wave shape for still better acoustics. The acoustics were supervised by Nagata Acoustics from Japan, one of the most respected such studios in the world. To get the right conditions for the performance and reception of symphonic music, the acoustic model has been created on a 1:10 scale. The chamber hall for smaller musical forms seats 300 spectators. The interiors of NOSPR are breathtaking, setting an example for the world's very best concert halls. Lovers of architecture and contemporary design will discern the amazing consistency, engineering mastery, and attention to detail. We can now admire the result of the work of the hundreds of people involved, specialists in construction, architecture, and acoustics, who put in a lot of time and especially heart to make the newly constructed orchestra headquarters one of the best in the world. The designers also took great care in designing the surroundings. Both an amphitheater and sensory gardens have been created nearby. Varbud Construction Company was responsible for construction of the facility at a cost of over 265 million zloty, of which 51% was financed by the European Regional Development Fund. The remainder was covered by the Katowice local government authorities. The National Polish Radio Symphony Orchestra in Katowice is not only the headquarters for the best symphony orchestra in Poland. Many bands of different musical genres will have the chance to play here, and children will also get a chance to further their musical education here. Stars such as Christian Zimmermann, the Vienna Philharmonic, Ennio Morricone, the London Symphony Orchestra, and Piotr Beczała were all invited to the grand opening of the National Polish Radio Symphony Orchestra in Katowice. The Cultural Zone is a truly special place. In the area which once belonged to the Katowice mine, something of a landmark in the post-industrial heritage of the city, the Silesian Museum, partly located underground, was founded here too, with the assistance of the Marshal of Silesia. This project involved the adaptation, among other things, of the old buildings of the Warsaw Shaft's engine room, the clothing warehouse, and the shaft itself, the perfect vantage point. To further enhance the features of the legendary Spodek Center, the International Convention Center, a premium-class multi-purpose venue, has arisen at this location. When combined with the world-renowned Spodek Center, the organization of conferences and events for 20,000 people will be made possible. Multifunctional rooms are prepared for exhibitions, conventions, and meetings. This modern center will be an ideal meeting place for guests of the European Economic Congress and many more such events. Spodek, a true icon of Katowice, has been modernized in recent years. In addition to the unique architectural qualities, it now stands as a remarkably modern hall, meeting the highest industry standards. Great sporting events are held here, such as the European Championships in men's basketball and women's volleyball, a WTA Tour tennis tournament, and this year's Men's Volleyball World Championships. Nothing gives rise to an opinion of a city like seeing the changes within with one's own eyes. The thousands of visitors from around the world can testify to this. Politicians, businessmen, and journalists who visited Katowice during the European Economic Congress, coordinated by the local government of the city. It was the same with events of international prestige, such as the Intel Extreme Masters World Computer Games Championships, as well as a full range of concerts and festivals taking place in Katowice, such as the OFF Festival, Tauron New Music, Rava Blues, the National Festival of the Art of Directing, Interpretations, the Katowice for Children International Festival of Puppet Theatre, the A-Part and Summer Garden Theatre Festivals, the Ars Cameralis Silesiae Superioris Festival of Chamber Arts, and the Grzegorz Fittelberg International Conducting Competition. Another of the city's great features is the way it keeps alive its traditions and cultural heritage, reflected in the historic Nikiszowiec district or tracing the modernist monuments route. The stimulation of the creative environment, the intensification of meetings, concerts, exhibitions, and all artistic activities just goes to show that at the heart of the Silesian agglomeration there is something extraordinary happening, a change not only in image but in content and priorities. Katowice today is therefore a European city where modernity alludes creatively to tradition. It's also ideal for new investment projects and for everyday life. The richness of cultural, sports, and business events has permanently changed the image of the city. Admiring the skyline of today, it's hard to believe that just a quarter of a century ago, steel mills and mines dominated the Katowice landscape. The change happening before our eyes on such a large scale makes Katowice a true metropolitan capital of today.